What's up, everyone, and welcome to another cryptocurrency market update. In this one, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And in these cryptocurrency market update videos, you'll be able to see where I'm thinking the price may be moving next, learn technical analysis in the process so you can forecast price movements on your favorite cryptocurrencies. So let's start off here with Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Very, very exciting stuff here. We've continued to make higher highs here and higher lows. So we're continuing the bull trend upwards. We just today broke the high of the previous week, telling us that we're still continuing to go higher here. And if we go to the daily time frame, this is what's very exciting to me. The entry that we had been talking about since back here on March 24th hit perfectly right here. You can see that as soon as we tapped into that level, we have since risen in price by over 10%. So it's taken about 3 days to get there. I expect that the next couple days will probably push us into at least the 63K level. And that is our main resistance level that we're looking at on Bitcoin. And you can use the pivot indicator to, when you're in price discovery mode, which is when there's no previous resistance levels to go off of because we've never been up at these levels in price. You can use a technical indicator like the pivots to learn, where the price may be stopping at. These are just resistance levels to watch on the way up, and they usually hold pretty well on the first test. So we'll see if this one, and if we end up blowing right through this one, or if we end up hitting this one and rejecting off of it. I will be taking some profits at this level, right around 63,140. If we go to the daily time frame, we can see that these green lines are the areas where I'm looking to take profit. A couple different things to note. If we look at the pattern that we might be potentially in right here, this may be a ascending triangle pattern. And we talked about this in the video yesterday. But if we draw a line across here, a horizontal line where the price is rejected off of several times, and then we draw another line right here up to that point, you can see that the price has been contained within this triangle. And if we break above the zone and close above it, that will be the breakout of this pattern, and we will look for the target of this pattern actually being pretty sizable. And the way you can measure that is from the low up to the horizontal, and that's about $17,000. So if we take that from the horizontal and pull it up 17,000, we will get roughly 77K. So that's the ultimate high target. The other pattern to watch is this daily inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, where we can see our left shoulder, head, potential right shoulder. This looks pretty clean to me. The target for this is this green line right here, which is up here at right around 69,800. So it's right around there. That is going to be the area that if this pattern ends up breaking out, that it should go to. The other area that I'm looking to take profits is this 65.5 level, right around 65.5, which is this daily R1 pivot level here. And if you don't know how to use the pivot indicator to look at some of these resistance levels and take profits on the way up, I put a link right here for you so you can watch that video that I put out on how to use this indicator. It's very simple, very easy to use, and very effective as well. If we look at the lower term time frame, 4-hour time frame is really exciting stuff here in my opinion. This gray zone that we have that we rejected off of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times. 13 times minimum. There might even be a couple that I missed in here that we've went into. You can see we closed 2 candles above this just barely, meaning that the people that are pushing the price up, they know that this is the main zone that they need to close above, and they closed both of those candles above it. I just added to my Bitcoin long position on this candle, and am putting my stop loss below this gray zone, but in my opinion, there's a very high chance that this level holds on the first test, considering that we tested it 13 times before we pushed through it. So my target for that is that 65.5 level, roughly. I'll also take some profits up at the 140 level, which is about 4.5% roughly, up from where we are now. In my opinion, this is a very high probability trade that I like to see. Whenever I see, and for the takeaway here for you guys is you want to look for support and resistance zones like this one that have been tested several times, that eventually we finally go above. Because once we do finally go above that zone, that is going to be a very strong support zone. So when something is resistant several times, a lot of people are selling in this zone. Once we go above that zone, it flips and becomes a support zone where once we retest it, people are going to be buying their positions because they're recognizing, oh, the price is going up now. It's this level that I sold is probably now going to be support, so I'm going to buy my position back. And so people are buying their position back right now. You can see that with the long lower wick of this 4-hour candle. Another interesting thing to point out here is this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And patterns are really this pattern specifically has happened so many times recently in Bitcoin's price action. It's like the go-to pattern right now for price. You can see down here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we go up. Another one right here. It's pretty much every time that we go down, there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Right there. Oops. Right here. I mean, this is the go-to pattern in the recent price action. Right here. And then you zoom out, you go to the daily time frame. And I'm going to take these off. And you can see the one that we just talked about right here. Another one. So it's just it seems like this is the pattern to watch for. But as a trader, cryptocurrency trader, you want to look for patterns like that because it's giving you an idea of where where the momentum is going. So once you see this pattern, this is what we call a bullish reversal pattern. So this is where the price action is changing from bearish, where we're seeing right here the downtrend, to bullish. And once this breaks out, that is the confirmation, and you want to see that with an increase in bull volume. And you see we're starting to tick up here on bull volume on the daily. And so I imagine either today or the next day is going to be a pretty big explosion upwards. I mean, today already we've already appreciated, 4%. But I imagine tomorrow might be more. We'll see. Those are the targets that I'm looking for, and then ultimate target is 77. That's where I'll sell all of my Bitcoin. If we get up to 77K, you can have it at that rate. Let's go over to Ethereum here. Ethereum on the weekly time frame looking very bullish here, breaking out of this consolidation that we had here, this equilibrium of high, low, lower, high, higher, low, and then boom, we broke above last week, had a nice bullish candle close, and we've since broken above that. If we look at the daily time frame, we have this bullish ascending triangle pattern that Ethereum has already broken above and retested right here. So I talked about this in our global Telegram channel, and if you're not a part of that already, there's a link to join that in the description below. It's free. I talked about this entry right here and why this pattern, patterns like this, when you get the breakout and you get a retest, that's a very high probability trade because the pattern is already broken out. Sometimes what can happen on breakouts is there's a fake breakout where it looks like it's going to break out and then it comes back inside the pattern and then breaks down. So what I usually like to wait for is this exactly what we're getting right now, which is a push through, clear breakout of this horizontal, and then a retest. And this is your long entry, and then there's different ways you can play this. One of the ways you can play this is you can say, all right, I'm going to enter there, and then I'm going to put my stop loss, back below the nearest support zone. So in this case, like it would probably be this 12-hour gray zone right here where you would put your stop loss below, and then you would target. You would go back to the daily time frame, and then you would pull this up to wherever your target is. And so if your target's the R2, then pretty good risk reward right there. There's different ways that you can do it. You could say, all right, well, we're just doing it off the pattern, so I'm going to put my stop loss back below the ascending trend line here. Gives you your stop loss is going to be a lot farther away. I personally like to do the former, where I put it somewhere near the below the closest significant support level. But you can see since we've went off that level, we have appreciated about 13%. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame and look at what we're dealing with here. This is the current entry that I'm really liking right now. The reason for that is because this is no surprise. The pattern that we're going to point out here is the old inverse head and shoulders. Welcome back, inverse head and shoulders. So this is the target for this, for the inverse head and shoulders, is you pull from the head up to the neckline. Now the neckline in this case is actually different than, sometimes it's horizontal. The neckline can shift depending on, like, the slope of the neckline can shift. And you can see that this one, if we were to draw the trend line from where the neckline actually is, from the left to the right shoulder, it's somewhere, it's something kind of like this. So it's sloping downwards. So what I do then is I take it from the right shoulder. So I measure from the head to the right shoulder. It's about $170. So then we can take our tool, then measure from the right shoulder, go up $170, and that is roughly right about there, right about 22.75, and that lines up pretty well with this R1 pivot up here. So that's why I'm targeting for this level the R1 pivot. Unfortunately, this gray zone did not get hit on this retest right now, so it might end up leaving without me in terms of my bids not getting filled. But I still have a position, so I'm not too worried about it. And that is the target for that. If we're looking at the target for the ascending triangle pattern, you will take it from the low, once again, up to the horizontal. That is 655 roughly. If we take 655 from that horizontal, that is giving us roughly $2,600 ETH. That will be where I will look to exit pretty much all of my Ethereum if we end up getting up to that level. I think it's pretty likely that we get up to at least this R2 daily level right here, which is up at 23. And then if we look at like the 12-hour time frame, this inverse head and shoulders pattern right here, once again, the old classic, from the head up to the neckline right here, that's about 225. So if we're using this head and shoulders as our measurement, we're gonna go from the neckline right about here up $225 is about 23.75. So the moral of this story for Ethereum is most likely, like, it's going to go up to this R1 level, which is up at about 2260. Past that, you get into like the mid 2300, 2350 range. Then you got the R2 pivot right here, which is your next main resistance level, which is up at about 2440. If we go to the daily time frame, daily R2 up here at about 2300. Weekly, next weekly is up here at about 2529. So that's going to be where ultimately, like, I'll probably sell my Bitcoin or my Ethereum here if we end up getting up to 25.5, just because it's pretty good. It's a pretty good price to sell. So that's all I got for this one, guys. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And also, if you have not already, sign up for our virtual event that we're having today, actually. And we're going to be talking about beginner technical analysis concepts, like how to analyze multiple time frames like we do in these videos, going from the weekly to the daily to the 4-hour, and then how to use the RSI, the relative strength index, to make calculated entries, maximize your profits, and minimize your losses. So definitely sign up for that as well. There is a link for that in the description below. And until next time, onward and upward.